Thank you, Dave. Hello, everyone, and yeah, echo that. Thanks for staying on till the last session. Graveyard slot, but hopefully we'll keep it interesting enough. Anyone who was here at the very first session of the session listened carefully to the Scottish Minister's speech on Wednesday morning, yesterday. You will have heard that we've actually got some stuff to announce, which is really nice to say, because I've been standing up for most of the last 3 or 4 months saying, sorry, we can't really update you on what we've been doing. Now we can, which is great news, and on 2 specific programs. So very quickly, the Carbon Trust not-for-profit company now. We still work with governments, but we now work with effectively anyone who kind of shares our mission, our goal, which is to accelerate the move to a low-carbon economy. We've got a sort of big organization doing other stuff. There's a core team of 20 or 30 in the innovation team, and we take forward technologies that will help that mission, low-carbon technologies. I head up marine energy in the Carbon Trust, and what I'm talking about now is our marine work. So what have we been doing? We've been doing marine stuff for over 10 years now, around about as long as EMEC. In fact, we're involved in setting up, organizing EMEC in the first place, and we're a founding funder and are still involved in that. Otherwise, we've done a lot of work on both understanding what the challenge of marine energy is and then working to solve that challenge, understandably. A lot of it about understanding the cost of energy. We've heard repeatedly through this conference, and we now know that it's expensive at the moment. The cost of energy is high, so what we need to do is get down the cost curve. We're increasingly involved, so we've been involved in every sort of scale of technology demonstration. We're increasingly moving on to demonstration of, I wouldn't call them full-scale arrays, maybe pre-commercial arrays, which is kind of where the industry's at. We have been involved in every stage of that. And this is how we tend to think about it. This isn't anything innovative. It's sort of TRL stuff. Starting on the left-hand side, maybe the inventor in his bathtub, through to market diffusion. That's where we need to get to. Fully commercial devices, fully commercial array systems, everything available at market rates and developed probably by utilities or independent project developers. The whole marine energy industry is certainly not on the right-hand side. The leaders are just getting to this first farm stage. This is what the Marine Renewables Commercialization Fund, which at the moment is about half of my job, is doing. Other stuff I'm going to talk about is slightly sort of further to the left and helping those first farms. So as I said, these are the 2 scales where we're at now. Full-scale demonstrators. We actually worked with a bunch of the technology companies to help them install their full-scale prototypes at EMEC and in Northern Ireland. That program finished, the Marine Renewables Proving Fund, but we're still working with those developers, some of them to get the first arrays in the water. And what we're also doing now, sorry, just as this is to say what we're now doing in the future. The Marine Renewables Commercialization Fund I mentioned just now is a Scottish government fund to get first arrays in the water. It's effectively grant aid, or it was initially expected to be grant aid with some flexibility. The other thing I'm announcing now is the Marine Farm Accelerator, which is a consortium program, basically to help get those first arrays in the water, but also to bring forward innovative enabling technologies, sort of system technologies, to get the risk down and the cost down for the right-hand side as we move further right. So, rest of my presentation, 2 things. The Marine Renewables Commercialization Fund, which, as I said, was intended to support arrays, is still supporting arrays. Its fundamental goal is the same. It's now being used to both support arrays and to do some other innovative stuff, which was always on the cards, and this is what the Minister announced. And the other half of my talk, the Marine Farm Accelerator. Unsurprisingly, these 2 things are actually connected, and hence the overlap here. So the MRCF, Scottish Government programme, very much parallel with the UK government's MEAD programme, which we helped work with them to develop. paragraph bottom left is probably the key bit. It's a Scottish Government fund. We are administering it, doing all the work effectively for the Scottish Government, but delivering it for them, £18 million overall budget, and its goal is to help commercialise the marine energy industry in Scotland. That's the bit that stays absolutely constant. Our initial focus, and we had a sort of programme opening last August, was intention to fund the very first arrays of wave and or tidal devices. So 3 to 10 megawatt arrays must have demonstrated at full scale a series of sort of technical and commercial tick boxes that if you can persuade us that you will be able to build your array, it will achieve what we need it to achieve in terms of moving towards to the right-hand side of the chevrons, and that you can do it within timelines, which were at the end of the day set by political constraints, a comprehensive spending review, then we would give you money. And also, if you're not getting money from anywhere else. The good news, actually, is that the tidal projects that were selected as feasible within that and desirable within that are getting project support elsewhere, either from European money or from UK money, the Marine Energy Array Deployment Fund. So we're still potentially going to be supporting some tidal array, but actually the major projects are getting European or UK money. So the sort of learning here is that the tidal array projects are just about getting away, because tidal technology is just about at that commercial stage, and there are a few specific things in there about that. Sort of technically, they've been in the water, they've demonstrated reliability, performance, they've demonstrated operations, and they've demonstrated durability. The leading tidal devices now, either at large scale or full scale, have demonstrated multiple hours in the water. Wave devices have demonstrated time in the water, but they're not quite there yet. The other fundamental thing that the leading tidal devices have is big OEMs, big original equipment manufacturers behind them, big industrial support and really big pockets, so specifically for warranties that project developers or utilities are going to need in future. Wave companies, generally speaking, don't have those. So we're recognizing that Wave is at a different stage, and we're developing now with the MRCF budget. It's not new money, it's the same MRCF budget, a bespoke Wave program, effectively to get leading Wave companies to that next step, which is commercially ready, so that project developers, utilities, will be ready to buy multiple units. We're also, as was expected, doing a certain amount of work on array innovation to enable the very first farms and then the next farms. And that's actually where it overlaps with the Marine Farm Accelerator. And I just wanted to highlight this bottom left. I've highlighted that the goals of the MRCF are still the same goals. We're still targeting getting arrays in the water in Scotland within a time period which isn't inherently within the comprehensive spending review period, but we're targeting technologies, projects that can realistically deliver arrays in Scottish waters in 2016, 2017, 2018. That's Wave and tidal. The goal is to be achieving that. So in that sense, nothing's changed. Quickly, what is this Wave Array Support Program? The key thing to write down is that it will be opening. There'll be a call for projects to tell us what they need, who the projects that think they meet these broad criteria. It will be opening on the 3rd of June, so not next week, the beginning of the week after that. So keep an eye on the Carbon Trust webpage for that one. But in brief, it's looking, as I said, at getting Wave technologies ready for arrays, and a fundamental part of it is the key thing really is to not just get them over that next technology step, but get them over that next commercial step, which is one way or the other to have OEM backing. So to have industrial OEM input at this stage, ready for industrial OEM input at the commercial next stage. Some specific objectives, as I said, proving reliability and performance. Technologies must have a sort of commercial future. There must be not necessarily an absolutely clear pathway, but an understood pathway to getting effectively cost of energy reduction, that's what gives you markets. In fact, we want to be working with technologies that have a clear access to early arrays in Scottish waters. That's Pentland Firth and Orkney waters or other leased sites. As I've stated, we want to be working with the wave technology companies who we will be supporting to be one way or the other working with OEMs, getting industrial input at this stage, and hopefully in due course or now, getting industrial investment into the companies. And we will consider putting some support, some financial support into site development as well. And this is either either financial support or us helping projects with this. This is really very straightforwardly to make sure that when we get to the point where these wave technologies are array ready, hopefully in 1 year, possibly 2-3 years, that there are first array sites that would be ready for them, that things like grid, things like consents, don't create delays further down the line. And so, broadly speaking, again, in terms of those chevrons, we're looking to work with the technologies that have already got to full-scale at-sea demo or very near it, where potentially we will work with wave companies that we think that we want to work with, that we think meet these criteria and have a good long-term future, potentially to do most of the things that these guys will be working on in order to get their next technology iteration. As I said, we'd also work on their site development. We'd fundamentally consider paying for their site development for the demonstration of their initial prototype, but we will consider working on site development either with them or with a site developer, a utility, for their next stage array. An obvious and an important point, the initial constraints that meant that we can't just support arrays out into the future using the Marine Renewables Commercialization Fund still apply. We need to be spending the money within the comprehensive spending review period, so all projects need to at least be completing their spend. We would like to see them completing as much as is possible, getting their next prototypes into the water in March 2015. And applicants, I say we would like to see them be getting in the water in 2015. We definitely need to see them having a good likelihood of getting their next stage full-scale prototypes into the water, certainly in 2016-17. And the call opens, as I said, on 3rd of June 2013, so keep an eye on our webpage. Take my contact details. Feel free to follow me, to contact me on the 3rd of June if you can't find your way there, or if you want to get a catch-up after the 3rd of June. And just to mention this, the wave support is the bulk of the additional bit of the MRCF, the new bit of the MRCF. What we're also planning to do with some of that MRCF budget is direct support for innovation projects that enable the first arrays, the target arrays, both the tidal ones that are already happening using other grant support mechanisms and these wave ones that are ongoing. So we will be taking forward certain innovation stuff. That's likely to happen. It's not opening on the 3rd of June. It's likely to open not long after that. So again, engage with us if you have very specific innovations that will enable cost reduction and risk reduction on these very first arrays. And this will very clearly link in with the Marine Farm Accelerator, which hopefully I have time to quickly go through the other half. 2 minutes. I'll run really, really fast through this. Basically just show you some pictures of the Offshore Wind Accelerator, which is a very successful program we've run to reduce cost. Not so much to reduce risk, but to reduce cost in offshore wind. We are effectively replicating that. The situation is different in marine, but we're setting up an equivalent version in marine. The goal is to reduce risk and to deliver cost-effective and reduced-risk innovative technology solutions for arrays for the rest of the system that isn't the fundamental prime mover or fundamental PTO of wave and tidal devices. This is us working with the catapult The phase 0 is funded now by the Catapult. It's a consortium organization. We will, in due course, we're working with utilities, we'll be working with government to effectively enable consortium working on innovation. I'm literally going to have to zoom through all these slides based on successful work in offshore wind that includes a large proportion of offshore wind developers in UK waters. A similar sort of model in that at the end of the day, it's trying to reduce cost, that's capital costs, operating costs, and increase yield, so therefore reducing in total cost of energy. MFA will focus more on reducing risk, on getting innovations that are actually fundamentally needed to reduce risk and also to reduce cost for these very first arrays. Just to show what we do, we would work right from the beginning, working with the utility partners to agree priority areas for innovation, to research the solutions, do deep technical work to find out what the options are, agreeing costs and IP share once we've chosen solutions. That may be through competitions, it may be through other mechanisms for choosing the right sorts of innovations, and then fundamentally to manufacture, demonstrate, and test the innovations that come out of it. And very quickly, the likely focus areas, this will be developed once we have the utilities on board, the project developers on board who will be driving this. Tidal foundations for bottom-mounted arrays, foundations and mooring for floating arrays, that could be wave, could be tidal. Installation recovery, equally wave and tidal, yield optimization, various aspects of site characterization, electrical systems and subsea connections, reliability condition monitoring. And anyone who looks at those will not be surprised what's there. A key part of this is working with utilities, also working with other innovation programs that are doing aspects of this. Simon from the ETI has technologies that actually interact with this. They also interact with MRCF wave stuff, so we obviously need to be working well with them. We need to be working with the TSB and Scottish Enterprise and a series of other, and the Crown Estate actually. But fundamentally, for now, it's about getting the guys who hold site leases in UK waters, potentially in European or Canadian waters for that matter as well, and working towards reducing risk and reducing cost. So finally, for the MRCF, adjusted plans with the same goal, if you like. Keep an eye on our webpage. 3rd of June, there will be application forms and further details on the wave work. Not long after that, there will be further details on the innovation to allow arrays to happen short term. Marine Farm Accelerator is something that's being developed now. At the moment, we're speaking with utilities and project developers. In due course, and inevitably already, we are speaking to innovators who have the ideas that will hopefully come through this. So get in touch with us in due course. Utilities, I think I'm probably already in touch with most of you. Thank you, and feel free to do take my details and get in touch with me if you have follow-up questions on this, and if you think you can engage with any of this stuff that Carbon Trust is doing. Thanks.